Well, hello.
Hey guys.
We're here.
Yep.
It's all about love.
Yep.
Love, love, love.
Yep. And we're continuing with some familial love.
Yes.
Storge. And we are going from the father and son love to a mother-in-law and daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it turns out very well.
Yes, it does.
But we have a husband that is in Amalek, who is the initial husband, and Naomi.
Yeah.
And they are the couple. They have 2 sons, and there was a famine, which is not enough food for everybody. And he chose to go to the land of Moab, which is really not where they're supposed to be because they are not worshiping God there.
Yeah.
But he chose to go there, and I think not shortly thereafter he dies.
Mm-hmm.
So at least Naomi with her 2 sons.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
so the 2 sons then end up marrying. Well, I mean, you're in the land of Moab.
So what
you're
do you
gonna
do?
Marry Moabite women, you know?
You're gonna marry somebody local, right?
Yeah.
So they do get married, and then the sad part again is that both sons die.
Yes, before they're able to, provide
provide anything, any more sons, any more children. Yeah,
exactly.
So here you have 3 women that are in Moab, and 2, I don't know if what their faith was, but you've got Naomi, who her faith is in God.
Yeah.
And
she decided she wanted to go back to her homeland, which, she knew that she was going to be able to be taken care of there, because along with what we were talking about with heirs last time, when you have widows, the family is, supposed to be taking care of them, and you usually have the sons taking care of them. Now the sons are gone, and you have to go to your next of kin.
Who's going to take care of you? You're in a land that you don't know. You're foreign to you.
Yeah.
So you go back to something familiar.
Yeah.
So you have 2 daughter-in-laws who are going to follow you, supposedly.
Yeah.
And Ruth or Naomi says, go back to your families. Because she thinks that's the best. That she's not going to be able to have any more sons that these girls can marry.
Yeah.
Which would be what would be normally the next son would step up and take a wife.
Yeah.
And that was not going to happen.
Yeah. And I'm sure that she understood being taken from your homeland and how, heart-wrenching that could be.
She probably didn't want to do the same thing.
Like,
I didn't think about that.
Obviously, I can't provide you any more husbands.
Right.
And your best option, stay with your family and remarry there.
That's right. Yeah, hang out at home and be with your families. And so one decided, Orpah decided to go. Yeah. But Ruth said, I'm not going.
Yeah. Yeah, Orpah definitely loved her mother-in-law, but she was like, okay, I will respect your wishes. I'm going to go back. Yeah. And Ruth was like, no, I'm sticking with you. Sticking with you.
Yeah, and I love this part. And Crystal and I she's kind of written some, a storyline with Naomi and Ruth because that relationship is very strong.
Yes.
That mother-in-law, daughter-in-law relationship. And so I love this, and she has read this to me before, but Ruth replied in verse 16, chapter 1, don't plead with me to abandon you or to return and not follow you. For wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you live, I will live. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. I think that's the big key right there. She accepted and believed in who the true God is.
Yeah. Yeah. She wasn't trying to get her to, go back to her. She wasn't trying to get Naomi to worship another God. She was like, no, I'm going to worship your God.
That's right. That's right. And she says, where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord punish me and do so severely if anything but death separates you and me. Pretty serious. She was determined to go with her. And then Naomi says, okay, what am I going to say to that? What do you say to that?
Right.
Like, so she just kind of turned and said, okay. Then she goes with her.
Yeah.
So such a, I don't know. It was what I find interesting about both stories is that God is in the center of both stories, and they love God. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and that was Ruth. She loved God, and so she in turn wanted to go with Naomi to where her God was.
Yeah. Yeah.
She no longer wanted to be in an area where other deities were worshipped.
Yeah. And I think when you have that real encounter with God, it's nothing else can measure up. So, you know, you're going to go that direction. And, you know, she chose wisely with that. Obviously not only because, you know, God is who he is and just amazing, but, you know, God ended up providing a kinsman redeemer, which is what they called him.
Yes.
They had found somebody that could redeem her and marry her. That was from Naomi's family. And I think the first one, because they found Boaz, and then the first one, they had to go to the first one to be like,
first one, say, do you want this one?
Do you really want her? I mean, like,
do you really need
I'll
another
take
one?
her if if you want me to. But yeah, so you know, God ended up providing because of just Ruth's love for him and for Naomi.
Yeah.
Just that strong familial bond that comes out of loving God.
Yeah. Jehovah Jireh, God provides. And I think he did provide. And I think it's just another sense of pointing to Jesus, because Boaz redeemed her just as Jesus redeems us.
Yeah. And she wasn't even part of, you know, God's chosen people, the Jews. She was
she was a Moabite.
She was a pagan. She was whatever else, you know. But yeah, she was just, you know, brought in under his protection.
That's right. Yeah, and this is in the Old Testament. So
yeah,
her belief, how do you say that? Her belief gave her righteousness. Her belief in God counted to righteousness.
Yes.
So what a story to be able to say, you know, how many times do we find ourselves or in places that are difficult? And instead of turning away from God, you turn to God and you just trust. And that's what Naomi did. Even though when she got to town, she says, "Just call me Mara, because I'm bitter. I'm bitter about all of this," which I can understand, being bitter about a husband and 2 sons, and you know, you don't know where you're going to get your next meal from. And in fact, that was part of what Ruth did, is she had to, that's where Boaz saw her, because she went out in the fields and gleaned in the back of the fields, you know, and Boaz noticed her. But so many times we do have to make, we have to be obedient.
Yes. Yeah. We have to be obedient to God, and even through those rough times, you know, in the good and the bad, we are to be obedient to God, and you know, he works all these things out for the good of those who love him.
For those who love him. There's that word again, love.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's mentioned a lot in the Bible.
It is a lot. It is, because this is a love story.
It really is.
It's a love story. Well, today is a little short, but it's okay, because it's just because it's short doesn't mean it's not a big story. Ruth is not too many chapters. You could probably read it and glean a lot from it, because it's glean. She gleaned the wheat, and you can glean some good stuff from the story. But it is a redeemed. Just remember that each one of us, when we accept Christ, we're redeemed, and the perfect example. Yeah. So next week we have one more story. Because I just love Joseph. He's my favorite. He's my favorite in so many ways. There's so much to that story, and we may not bring the whole thing to you, but we'll bring the part that we think, you know, brings out what we're talking about. But
it really fits that familial.
It does. So, listen, you guys have a great week, and we will catch you on the other side.
Sounds good.
See you later.
Bye.